Hello, I'm Nathan Judah. I'm here with Wolves reporter Mr. Tim Spears. Tim, we're back on English soil.
Yeah, did you not get the memo about the dress code?
This is my day off. I've come in just to come and do a two-shot with you on my day off and then going back home again. Is that okay? It's commitment.
Good. Yeah,
I should be getting commended, not dissed.
Yep.
Hot, still hot. Humidity down though.
Yeah, it's cooler than China.
It is cooler than China. Enjoyed the cool media room as well. New swanky backdrop. Bit of Fosun.
Was it?
Yeah, did you not notice it?
No.
Oh, because you paid attention anyway. Yes, it was. It was really good actually. Yeah.
Right.
Two people in the interview today in the media press conference. Mr. Conor Coady, captain, and Nuno Espirito Santo. Look, he's pretty confident ahead of the game tomorrow night, and so why shouldn't he be?
Well, yeah, he's not exactly going to be scared.
No.
But what he did say is that they'll pay Crusaders the respect that they deserve and treat them like any other opposition, because you have to. This is the biggest game of a lot of the careers of these Crusaders players. Huge game, 30,000 people at Molineux, game on telly.
Yeah.
Europa League game.
Premier Sports.
Against Premier League stars. Against Premier League stars.
It's debatable.
It's not exactly ITV Digital. But,
no, it's not. No.
So yeah, a huge game for them.
It's not Sky Sports News.
It can't be
always available.
Can't be underestimated how big a game it is for them. Wolves are 250 to 1 on.
Are they?
To win with some bookies.
Wowzer.
Crusaders are 100 to 1 to win.
Right. Not happening.
So it just shows you the odds. However, they're going to be up for it. They're going to be sticking the boot in, I'm sure, in the early stages, trying to ruffle a few feathers.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to. You've got to look at their approach for the game. They're not going to try and outpass Wolves or outplay Wolves.
No.
So it'll be like facing a lower league team coming to Molineux in the FA Cup. So
how lower league are we talking? Do you think?
I don't know. That's tough for me to say. We'll know tomorrow night.
Yeah.
At 7:50.
Is that what time kickoff is?
No, it's 5 minutes after kickoff. So we'll know at 7:50 just what kind of level we're talking about. But like I said, the effort levels and the motivation cannot be higher for the opposition. For Wolves, it's a different story, but the fact that it's a packed house and first European game for 39 years means it should take care of itself.
Yeah, it should do. So looking at team-wise and selection, who's available, who's not, do you expect that Nuno will go with the same side that started both of the games over in China?
I think there's a good chance of that happening. I think he'll want a healthy first leg lead to take to Northern Ireland next week, when he can, I think in an ideal world, rest a few players over there, because the games are going to start coming thick and fast now. Matt Doherty will see. I mean, I doubt it given the 3-week prognosis. And then Saiss and Jimenez, Nuno said, back in training. Didn't say they weren't available, but I would be surprised if they played, especially given the fact that Wolves looked so good out in China last week. That first 11 looked pretty settled and ready to go, and I think we'll see them. And obviously we'll see a few kids on the bench as well.
Could you see a scenario where Jimenez and Saiss are on the bench?
I'm not sure that would really be required. You'd be struggling if you can't beat Crusaders without Saiss and Jimenez.
But I'm just saying, let's say it's 2-0 with 60 minutes left and you want to stretch the game. I mean, Jimenez, of course he's had a short break, but at the same time, you'd have thought he's a fit guy. He's probably still match fit because he only just finished playing.
Well, they need to. Yeah, that's the thing. It's that fine line between a rest and getting him going again, because you've got to think of the long-term consequences of bringing him back too soon. Is he going to peter out by January? So if they don't need him, then they won't play him. But obviously they've got to start building him up at some point with 20 minutes, 30 minutes here and there, building that up to 90 minutes.
Sure.
It's whether Nuno thinks and wants him to play against Leicester, and if he's got Raul Jimenez in mind to start at Leicester away on August the 11th, then he needs to start playing now in terms of a few minutes. So in that scenario, perhaps we'll see him on the bench. And then another one we'll see, I think, is Brighton Bakary, who didn't go to China because of visa issues, but he's back in the fold. I think he'd be ahead of Niall Ennis in the pecking order, probably, just judging on his first team experience with Coventry last season, and did so well. And if you look at the fact that he ran rings around defenders in League One, then taking on a team of the level of Crusaders, that he should get plenty of joy against them. So perhaps we'll see him tomorrow night as well.
And look, it's imperative, I'm sure they'll want to score as many goals as possible. You talk about Jimenez and maybe giving him some minutes at some point. He won't really want to give minutes to many of the first teamers, I wouldn't have thought, in the away leg on a plastic 4G pitch, because that's especially the size of the squad as it is, the last thing he wants to do is put strain on muscles.
Absolutely right. Like I said, that they'll be trying to get as big a lead as possible tomorrow. It won't be. You don't want to go to a small stadium in Northern Ireland, kind of needing a result, like you say, plastic pitch, not too many first team senior players around. He'd love to give that game an opportunity to the likes of Taylor Perry and Terry Taylor and Dion Sanderson, Christian Marquez, the likes of the guys we've seen out in China. He'd love them to play in Belfast, I'm sure. So we'll see how it plays out.
So the other big question he was asked, and of course it's going to be a very proud day for Nuno and leading them out tomorrow night, is transfers. Everyone is transfers. Who are we signing? When are we signing? There's I didn't probably realise it when I was out there, but since we got back, panic stations. Should they be worried, Wolves fans?
Yeah, do you go on social media reaction? Do you go on your Twitter pantwetters to see how the fan base are feeling? I mean, it wasn't as bad last week in China because the team were out there for a good reason on a great adventure and won a couple of games, so that kind of calmed things down a bit. But now you look at it, a couple of weeks to go. No one in yet. I mean, I'll say they spent 44 million this summer, but they haven't signed any new players. The squad has got smaller. They need to bring players in. Nuno obviously will never ever talk about individual players coming in. That's about Patrick Cutrone, and just said we don't talk about players. We don't.
Yeah.
It's a consistent approach.
He's done that ever since,
and it's absolutely fair enough.
Yeah,
in general, he said in a very relaxed manner, we'll get it done. He says people are working on it. We'll get it done.
And look, you talk about...
There will be players in. Obviously, at the moment, I think you look at it on the face of it, they must be struggling to bring in their first choice targets. So if they don't get those, then they move on to... these guys have got 6,000 players on their recruitment list, so they'll just keep going and keep going. The issue is, as it has been all summer, the extortionate prices that they're being asked for, and that will only get worse in the last 2 weeks of the window.
I think maybe because we've talked about Diaz and we've talked about Cutrone, that's not to say that they've got a lot of other players that they're looking at, and hopefully further down the line than what people think.
Yeah, it's just whether they're up to the required quality to come in, because Wolves have got a great first team. We saw it out again in China. They're in rude health, and they've got a fantastic first team. And what I would point out is that we're expecting improvements from a lot of the players they've already got. The likes, I think Ruben Neves has got room for improvement on last year.
Sure.
Jota, certainly on the first few months of last year, room for improvement on that. Likes of Vinagre really coming on. I think Cody, we'll see an improvement from him this season. Johnny Castro Otto, I think we'll see more from him after the first initial season.
Yeah.
There are improvements to come from within the squad as well. Got to point that out. Adama Traore, Morgan Gibbs-White. Well, you can get through.
Of course you can, yeah.
The whole squad, I think. So that's got to be taken into account. But yeah, they do need new additions. They need a centre half, and they definitely need a striker.
And have they made a rod for their own back as well in the fact that they've let Costa and Caballero go? So the players they're going to bring in, of course, they didn't really fit into the formation, but the players they've got to bring in are going to be better than them, because they're not going to sign like for like, are they, or samey as in ability-wise. They're going to have to sign better than that. Yeah,
I think with Costa Cav going, as you said, they didn't fit into the formation. They're not required this year, so they're not looking for a Ivan Caballero replacement. They're looking for someone who can fit into 3-5-2. Yeah. So. Like I said, they'll have so many targets at their disposal, but they do need to get a bit of move on. What I would say is that yes, there's no need to panic. They'll have it in hand, I'm sure. But it's disappointing, I'm sure, to Nuno that they haven't got the guys in for an early stage of pre-season.
Sure.
Because what we did see last year, Dendoncker, we've seen how good he's been since Christmas, but he didn't play till December, and I'm sure a lot of that was down to the fact that he didn't have a proper pre-season.
Yeah.
Adama Traore the same. They need a proper pre-season with Nuno, because Nuno does things differently to other managers. You've got a very specific way of playing here that you need to be trained in, and the fact they haven't got these players in yet means there's not as much time to work with them before the start of the Premier League season, which is a shame, but it's that's the way the market's going.
Of course it is, but you've got to feel that a player that would come in and potentially fit the mould will be comfortable in playing the formation that Nuno wants to say. You're not saying he's going to... No. I know he did with Traore last year, but at the same time, you think that who's going to come in will probably be ready-made of what they're looking for.
And also what I would say is that their recruitment record has been exceptional in the last 2 years. The success rate of signings is unbelievable.
Yeah.
You can count on one hand the ones that haven't really worked out. And what you'd also say is that the majority of signings, sort of Dendoncker aside, they've all hit the ground running. They've all managed to hit the ground running, and if they're signing a couple of lads from Portugal, we know that they're looking at Ruben Diaz and hopefully getting him. The fact you've got 6 other Portuguese players here, Portuguese manager, Portuguese staff, means it's a lot easier to hit the ground running. So you look at what they've done. The guys that came in last year, Jimenez, Johnny, Moutinho, Patricio, they all made contributions from the word go. Traore did as well before tailing off a bit, so you'd back that to happen again. So
back to tomorrow night, first prediction of the season. It's Wolverhampton Wanderers against Crusaders of Northern Ireland. I'll go first. Wolverhampton Wanderers 6, Crusaders, nil point.
Right.
6-0. 6-0 and play the kids. The 23s get a go in Belfast.
Okay. I will. So you look at the cricket today, and there's no.
Be worse, England.
There's no such thing as a done deal in sport, is there really?
They're still hungover from the World Cup, though. To be fair.
Yeah, I will say it's difficult.
These guys could still be hungover from Tsingtao.
It's difficult to judge the level of opposition, but I would say, given Wolves' form in China, I think they'll stick a few goals past them.
Damn right they will.
And I would say 4-1.
4-1. You give them a goal.
Yeah.
Give them a cheeky goal. Okay, interesting. Myself, Tim, and Joe Edwards will be at the game tomorrow night. For all the build-up on this one, make sure you log on to expressandstar.com.